Welcome to the Market Mindset. We are the hub for news, results, and CEO interviews focusing the junior commodities sector. We provide market analysis and perspective that will help position you for solid returns. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you can help support us by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the notification bell. For more info, you can visit our website. All links are in the description below. Now let's get into today's video.
Good morning and happy Friday. Yeehaw. We're just back from Stampede. Welcome to the Market Mindset, where we look to position you in ahead of the curve to look at stocks and look at opportunities and different stories out there while we go through this really painful shift that we're all going through and keep us focused on where the markets are going and where there's some opportunities. And we've got a bunch of updates to talk about. And let's just start off with the whole yeehaw thing, how it went out with Stampede.
Yeah, it was awesome having you guys out here for a change. It's usually me coming out to Vancouver for stuff, but it was nice to get you guys out here. We had a great event that we kind of helped put on with Avila Energy, who have recently just resumed trading again after their kind of merger with another company called Petro Viking Energy. So they were moving forward with that. It's been there's a really excited opportunity there. There are a lot of great team, really interesting projects. So it was fun to meet a bunch of the guys from their team. And kind of introduce them to some people that we know as well, and get to just kind of enjoy Stampede and feel the vibe and the energy that's back in the city, which has been awesome.
Yeah, and there is a big vibe back in the city. I mean, it's great to see Calgary and Alberta taking off again, as the unintended consequences of not having any energy solution not only is affecting Europe, but is also affecting Canada and the US. And people ask me, like, isn't this a contradiction that you have interest in oil and gas if you're in for this electric movement? And I'm like, no, not at all. The reality of this is it's going to take a massive transition. And even after the massive transition, we're still going to use oil and we're still going to use gas. And that's whether you are on which side of the science on this, it doesn't matter. We're always going to use it. It may not be used as the primary driver, but for us, there's a huge opportunity, and we don't see any contradiction, and there's a huge opportunity, and it's certainly the amount of work that they've done over there in the last 8-9 months as well. We're impressed with, and we're looking to just keep an eye on them to see what comes out of there. And like so many businesses, people need to be looking to see which businesses are creating free cash flow. That's a new term for a lot of investors nowadays. But it's back to, we've always been a big fan of value, of growth, but also of just fundamentals. And right now, people need new ideas to look at and to see where they should be focusing on. And that's a great area.
It is. And it's nice, a lot of times when a company's going through a transition period or their stock might be halted, it's easy for the management and leadership to kind of sit on their thumbs and not do a lot. It's the exact opposite of what the team at Avila have been doing. They've been putting in the hard work, really setting themselves up to hit the ground running when the exchanges approved everything and they were able to get moving again. So I think there'll be some really exciting news flow going forward for them. I think it's going to be a great kind of, last 6 months of the year for the company, and hopefully that'll be reflected in the market as well.
Yeah. And for those that, it's going to be a carbon neutral, company as well. So a lot of people will go, how's that possible? Maybe we'll get into that down the road. But also just a reminder to everyone that carbon is the building block of life. You are made out of carbon as well. So whenever I talk to people that are green, I usually need to clarify what they mean by that and what they think they mean by that and where they think carbon is. And which is great, though, now is we're seeing that shift in conversation happening on a different level as well. But that's a whole other conversation. But I just kind of wanted to throw that out there because people want to see that there are companies too that are recognizing, and not necessarily the carbon issue, but they want to do things environmentally friendly, and they have the best interest of not only their community, their province, or their state, but of a global consciousness, I guess one would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, we also want to talk a little bit about a good news story, and as well in a tough market. I mean, people are not wanting to talk so much. They're just kind of hoping that we'll get through the summer. Summers are usually kind of quiet anyway, but not for salt, not for Atlas Salt. We'd put out, I talked at VRIC about it. We did a little show before about it. We've got a report for people. Kind of give us a bit of an update, Austin.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's impossible to ignore for anyone who's kind of got the stock on their radar, because it's one of the few things that's been consistently in the green over the last month. And a great run. Last when we were talking about it, it was hovering just above the $2 range, between kind of 210 and 220. They're up over $3 right now. They're at $3.05, which is almost 40% over the last month, which is not a lot of companies, not a lot of stocks can say that they're in that position. So that's a fantastic place for them to be. And you mentioned we did a full breakdown on the importance of salt, the need for it, not just as a food supply item, but also as its practical uses in industry, and obviously the most common one being de-icing roads. So that there's a huge demand for it. And the project that Atlas Salt are sitting on out in Newfoundland and Labrador is absolutely massive. Their Fisher Salt Dome has huge potential to it. There's lots of interesting applications around it as well. So it's easy to see why people are excited about it and why it is doing so well in such a tough market.
Yeah, and we're not bragging like that because, we've got a good one that's going up. It's just nice to have a story that people can focus on to go, hey, not everything is going down. People are seeing opportunity out there, even in tough markets. And even if it's like that for the next 3 months, 6 months, a year, the companies that have dynamic stories that make sense, that deal with supply chain, that deal with inflation, and that are absolutely needed and required are going to get attention. And this hits a lot of those boxes because it has a spin out for people as well. And I believe that's up until August, where they're going to spin out this Fisher Dome where they can, in these salt domes, and they're massive, like Austin said, you can store natural gas, or you can store hydrogen. So there's a spin-off to this whole salt angle with the industrial need for salt in chemicals and on roads and in food. But also this spin out has a whole other side to it, which is very exciting. And yeah, we just want to remind people that it's not all doom and gloom. On that note as well, I mean, we've got Goliath, which has, although it's not assays, and I'm always hesitant to remind people, you always want to see the truth machine, the actual assays, but they're coming out with a lot of indicators when they're with the work they've done, and they've sent lots of different holes off to be assayed that are looking very strong. It's looking very good, and the team over there is feeling quite confident. We're going to jump on with Roger from Goliath as soon as we can. And once again, we're always cautious because you want those assays. That's the real truth. But it's kind of like what they had said the year before when they were waiting on assays. This is what we're seeing. We're hitting these indicators, and they're also now saying the same type of thing. So yeah. I know Crescat Capital is quite happy with them. Every Friday they have a message they put out to their shareholders, and it recaps all the companies they're involved in, and they're very happy with what they're seeing over there at Goliath. And that makes my job easy because that's Dr. Quentin Henning, who's got all the professional degrees in geology and whatnot that one would need, and a great track record as well, which is always helpful too. So we're glad to be able to relay that. And although Goliath is down from some of its highs, I mean, if you like taking a swing at things, this is an interesting story, and it fits into our what do you call it? Speculative side of the business.
Well, yeah, it checks a lot of the boxes for us, and exactly like you said, the projections, similar to what they were doing last summer, look very, very good. That's encouraging news to see, especially when you've got guys who have the reputation and the technical skills that the team at Goliath does have. That when you can start to see these projections lining up, it's usually a very good sign for things going forward.
Yeah, and we're excited. They're going to be constantly putting this out over summer, which is nice. So yeah, it's good to see. It's not going to get any pull in the market right now. I mean, we don't expect it to. And even when assays come out, it may not even give it the jump that we would expect maybe a year from now or 2 years from now. There's a great graph that I'm happy to send to people as well. That's from Crescat that not only explains the Lassonde curve, which we've done a video on but also shows some of their expectations that they are allowed to put a price point on, and how they view Goliath in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. So reach out to us for that as well. Happy to send it to you. And I think the last one we want to talk about, which is near and dear to my heart, is Desert Mountain Energy, which has gotten beaten up a little bit here, but primarily because of a news release 2-3 days ago, and it really took a dump down and popped back up. And that was because in that news release, there was a mention at the tail end of some group making a claim against the permit and claim that they already have. That caused a lot of the weak hands to shake out very quickly. And I read it, and I just kind of, I forget because I'm so used to shenanigans in the market. I just kind of discounted it in my head, and the odd WhatsApp message I got, I just said, guys, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I honestly think this is a short seller. This is done on purpose by someone to try to push DME down, either because they want to buy it for cheaper. But you're asking if this board and this group of experienced people have somehow missed a permitting, or anything's possible, but this is not something. I doubt it. I very highly doubt it. I didn't even, I'll follow up with them soon, but the stock jumped up again, and you could see that the panic that dropped was a huge opportunity for someone to come in and pick up some. And this is, this happens on the upside when people talk about pump and dumps. It happens just as much on the downside. People put out reports all the time to try to push a stock down. And we see that now at an attack, especially on like Lake Resources. And I'm not defending Lake or not. We don't own any Lake. We don't work with Lake. But that stock has taken a real big hit as short reports have come out talking about, just as they had done with, there was another Alberta company with the direct lithium extraction technology. And,
E3 Metals, is that the...
I think it was E3 or no, it was Standard Lithium, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So Standard Lithium that they were attacking, and it pushed the stock down a little bit. It went back up, but unfortunately for Lake, this attack, this short attack in this short report by a short firm. I mean, it's a firm that this is their business, and they're not saying that they know anything. They're just questioning whether or not the technology works, and this is. This is the ugly side of short selling. I didn't mean for this to be a short selling talk, but just because we're talking about it is you can cast enough doubt about a technology that can cause the market to panic a bit. And I don't get to talk to Lilac, and Lilac is well funded. We've spoken about Lilac and their direct lithium extraction technology, but that's their main partner. And they're a private company, so they don't have to disclose anything, but if they feel strongly about this project and about what they can do, one has to look at how well funded they are, who's behind them. I feel confident that they are going to get something to the table, and so the why I'm talking about this is because direct lithium extraction offers the potential of a huge upside for Alberta as well, which is what we want. Like you said, E3 Metals, but also Lithium Bank.
Yes, and Lithium Bank did have a good release come out this morning, just to kind of continue the momentum that they've had. They've commenced trading on the OTCQX under the symbol LBNKF. So that's very good news. It opens them up to more potential investors, more potential market. It just shows, they're continuing to check the boxes, move in the right way. We had a good opportunity when you were out here. We spoke with Rob Shuchuk for a few minutes. He popped in at our event. He's the CEO and director over at Lithium Bank, and very excited about the way things are shaping up over there.
Yeah, and once again, this is a stock that's pulled back, and we say it all the time, is that there's sometimes the stock the price reflects what it's worth, and there's times when they don't. And we see this as being a huge opportunity, and we don't know the time frame. I think they had mentioned before that somewhere before Labor Day or end of summer, getting into fall, that they would have some results on some of these on their resource. And we're very hopeful. And at the same time, there's very smart people working on this direct lithium extraction. And we've seen a lot of momentum push against the short attack side with Imperial Oil making a deal with E3 Metals. So,
No.
and they have a technology that they're boasting and a plant. So there's lots of upside. There's lots of positive to focus on. And I don't think anyone's going to question whether or not we're going to use lithium moving forward.
Yeah, lithium is certainly going to be one of the most critical and important minerals that it's out there as the electric shift begins to happen. You can see it with every major company that's looking at electric vehicles is trying to secure a supply of it in one way or another. Elon Musk's talked about it at great length and the need for it for Tesla. You mentioned the deal that Ford did with Lithium Resources. So it's incredibly important, and there's not going to be enough of it. Let's just put it that way. There's space for all of these great lithium companies to grow and help meet the massive amount of supply, or the massive amount of demand, that's going to be there over the next few years.
And we see that all of these people entering the battery side. LG Energy, Panasonic, Volkswagen has announced that they're working on a battery. All the vanadium companies are working on batteries as well. But not only because they can control the supply chain, but in the US especially, there is a lot of money going out from that infrastructure bill, not only in dollars investment, but in grants that can go to companies that are focused, especially on the battery side. So there's lots of upside. There's lots of things happening. And once again, that doesn't dissuade us from the fact that we have a massive energy crisis right now and a big situation we need to solve that can be solved fairly readily and fairly quickly if one took out all the politics. I won't even go down don't get me started with the politics thing, but a lot of this could be done very smoothly and efficiently if we had a lot of competent people running the show. Unfortunately, we're dealing with a lot of people that are interested in ideology and not data and not reality. And I'll leave it at this, is that I'm doing an interview this afternoon with Verses. It's VERSES, and it's verses.io. This talk about changing the world. Their slogan is Imagine a Smarter World. This is a Web 3.0 company. And this is very interesting. It's hard to get one's head wrapped around with it because it's really cutting edge, and it's the next stage of the internet and our interaction, not only with the internet, but with our surroundings. So it's a spatial web. More on that to come, because it's a very big platform. It's a really great concept. Some of you have heard of Web 3.0 before. It's part of that whole language of DeFi, and so there's lots going on. But we're going to break it down very simply into steps. And we see a huge long-term potential with Verses. And I'm very excited to have a conversation with them this afternoon. And we'll get that video out as soon as we can. They've got news ongoing. They're a newly listed company on the NEO exchange, VERS. So yeah, it's a very interesting concept, and I'm looking forward to it. Once again, it's a long-term idea, and it's a way of kind of looking at, like, ignoring some of the chaos and ugliness that's going on right now to think of a smarter world that's integrated together in a very efficient way that can make life a lot easier for everyone.
Yeah, it's a focus on that interaction between the digital world and the physical world, and how they can work together and more efficiently moving forward. And without diving into it too much, let's just say there's some really cool things that they potentially would be able to do with the kind of technology, the different apps and stuff that they're developing. So really, really excited. I'm looking forward to hearing all about it from that interview that you do with them this afternoon. That's going to be really exciting. But I think that's all for us today. We're going to head into the weekend. I'm going to head back to Stampede, going to soak up the last couple of days of it and enjoy it a bit, again, we said earlier, it's been awesome. The Calgary Stampede is always one of my favorite events. So it's great to see that happening. It was great to have you guys out here for it. We're going to enjoy the weekend, and we'll be back next week to cover more stories and keep educating in the market as best we can. Hey, Andrew?
Yes, excellent. Yes, and have some fun. And once again, it was so great to see Calgary alive again. Feel that optimism. It was people were pretty excited. It was beautiful weather. It was almost too hot the first day, but it was such a good feeling to be around people out and about, just living life and having a great time. So enjoy this weekend. I'm sure this weekend will be intense. It'll be a lot of fun, and everyone as well, have a safe and happy weekend as well.
Cheers, guys. We'll chat to you next week.